Welcome everyone to this discussion about journalism and mass communication. In this video today, we are going to discuss about functions of mass media. So in the previous classes of this paper, journalism, we discussed about communication, types of communication, and the different stages of development of this communication throughout human civilization. So after discussing all these things today, we are going to discuss about the functions of mass media. So before going into the functions, we must first discuss what is media and the development of media in different stages. Okay. So media, the basic explanation for this word media is, it is a plural form of medium. Yes, medium, it is the medium through which the communication happens. That is what media is. And look at the second point. It is a tool used to store and deliver information. So media is not just to deliver, but media is also to store information. So that is what media is. So the medium, the channel through which the communication is passed, the data is passed, or the data is delivered, the shared, is what we call it as media. Okay. So, while looking at the word mass media, immediately you would have thought about your mobile phones, internet, and all other digital mode of communication. But we must understand that mass media starts even in 1476. That is, even before this year, when the printing press was invented by Caxton in Europe. So, in the beginning itself, we should be very clear in this aspect that many print media are also included in mass media. The example is books. We can take the example of books. So before the invention of printing press, books are not available in all in the hands of all people. So during that particular time, we have knowledge is reserved only to a few people in monasteries, the religious people. So it is not, knowledge is not it is not given to everyone in this world. So after the invention of printing press, we have many books published, mainly from the Bible. So many books are published, and these books are distributed, delivered to the masses, the common masses throughout the world. So mass media starts even in the 15th century. So we should be clear in that. So if we consider book as a mass media, then we have many print media as mass media also. For example, here we have examples for media. So here are a few examples for media. Now look at the first few examples: books, magazines, pamphlets, newspapers. So all these examples come under print media. So book is an example, and then we have pamphlets, newspapers. Just to look at the examples of literary people, we have Addison, Steele, even uh, John Milton. So these famous people wrote for magazines, so wrote for daily newspapers. And take example of Charles Dickens, the famous novelist of the Victorian age. Most of his novels were written as serials in magazines, in print media, and this is how we should understand that print media is also a mass media. So now, on those days, how would have Charles Dickens reached a mass of people, by a great number of people? It is only through print media. So if he writes a story, if he writes a novel, so it can be delivered to many people all over England, and even all over Europe, and even America. And this is how writers and many famous writers used these print media to reach a large number of people. So I think now you can understand the basic definition of mass media. So the medium or the channel which is used to reach a large number of people, an uncountable number of people. So these are all the early stages of media. And pamphlets, you can you can recall P.B. Shelley's famous pamphlet which he distributed in his college life, the necessities of atheism. So if you want to write your own ideas on those days, these writers will write something as pamphlets, and they will distribute these pamphlets among the people whom they know. So these are all the print media which is used earlier to reach a large number of people. And later on, after the development of technology, we have radio. And yes, before radio we should discuss about telegrams, and telegrams also, because telegram developed along with the development of railways, posts. So these are all also included in mass media, for better communication. So we should understand that after the invention of printing press, and after the invention of steam engine, that is railways, these development of mass media is accelerated in a faster pace. And after these we have radio, television, and after that we have video. Then these are all the development. Radio, it is the development of the media in the later part of the 19th century and the earlier part of the 20th century. So it is an important mass media. It was its use was unimaginable during World War times, and during the pre-independent stages of India. And after that we have television, and the television has its strong hold only in the later part of the 20th century. We have television, and after that we have videos. Then we have cameras, we have cinema, computers, and internet. Cinema is very important because cinema is also considered as one of the important mass media, because the main difference is that it is not it delivers information as well as the feelings and emotions of people at a particular time in human history, or the feelings and emotions of the people at a particular place in this earth. So cinema communicates not only knowledge, not only information, but also all the aspects of human life, the feelings, emotions, and the sufferings and the challenges faced by human beings. And that is why cinema is more powerful as mass media, mostly among the illiterate, common, poor people in this world. And okay, you can also relate it with folk media, but we can discuss it. We can discuss folk media as in a separate class. So now later on, the last two examples, computers and internet, it is the recent development, that is the development in the later part of the 20th century, and in the 21st century mass media is completely dominated by computers and the internet. So even the way in which we are conducting classes now, it is only with the help of internet. So now if we conduct a class, yeah, we can reach a large number of people, not only in our own district but all over the world. So the media that we are using nowadays, it is completely controlled by internet, and that is why we call this as an internet era or digital era. So these are all the examples of mass media. So just remember that mass media is not just technological, not just the technological tools, but also the print media. So this should be in your mind while studying mass media, because we will discuss about the importance of newspapers in the functions of media also. Okay. So now I have listed a few tools used for mass media. That is the printing machines, the printing press invented by Caxton. And then we have records, cameras, fax machines, cables, that is the cable through which we have lots of channels, and at last satellites. So these are all the tools used for mass communication. Okay. Now we have entered into today's subject, functions of mass media. So there are lots of functions for mass media, but according to our convenience, we have divided it into four basic functions of mass media. So the first one is surveillance, and surveillance and information. That is the first function of mass media. Second one, entertainment. Third one, advertising. Fourth one, development. So these are all the four ideal functions of mass media. The reason is that in this 20th and 21st century, the entire world is following democracy, and the media is considered as the fourth pillar of democracy. So for the people and for the government and for the nation and for the world as a whole, the function of this media is very important. So before being a journalist, you should understand the ethical functions, the basic functions of mass media for the betterment of human society as a whole. The first one is information. That is what we call it as information or surveillance. Okay, this is the first and foremost job of mass media. Just look at, to understand this first function, just recall what newspaper agents and what the news agents of television channels and the television news channels are doing. So these people are surveying the entire society. So they are just doing a surveillance, and they are looking at each and every district, each and every state, and they are looking whether there is something special in that particular place, or then they are looking whether there is something unusual in that particular place. So if there is something disturbing, or sometimes if there is something extraordinary in a particular place, these people, these media, they will just survey the entire society, the entire world, and then they will bring out the news. So if something is happening in a particular place, then it is because of this surveillance they will capture that particular incident, and then they will report that particular incident as a news. And here, look at the second point, latest news in our region. So latest news that is happening in and around our society, it is delivered to us as a news only because of this concept called surveillance by by media. So why they are surveying the entire society? It is just to inform the common people about what is happening in and around them. And the last one, it is inform the challenges and opportunities of common people in the society. So this is very important. So the function of media, if it is information, it is not just to inform what is happening around, but it is also to inform what is the challenges. For example, if we are what are the challenges faced by common people during this COVID-19 time. So it is very important for common people. So if you are in a media, you should analyze the challenges and opportunities during this COVID-19 pandemic, and then you should inform the common people about the challenges and the opportunities that is in front of these common people in the society. So it is slightly like, it is information. It is not just an information, it is guidance. So guiding the common people, guiding the illiterates during their challenging circumstances. And the second one is entertainment. Most of us use media for this purpose, entertainment. It starts with our music. It starts with music, then cinema, even serials that is very famous in Indian culture. So these are all the things which is used, which is a function of entertainment. So we can take our own household as examples. We have lots of people in our home who are sincere followers of TV serials. So it is only just for an entertainment, to pass the time, to relax with friends and family. So now this television and the television programs are very important than movies also. So these movies and the television serials, these aspects, these media affect people very much. The reason is that they are very close with the culture of that particular society, and sometimes they have the power to change the behavior of the people who are watching the entertainment. So that is the power of cinema and TV serials also. It is the basic function as an entertainment and a change. Okay. Now, the third function of mass media is advertising. So, advertisement, if you are buying newspapers, you can understand this very easily. Some of the time, the entire front page of the newspaper will be covered with an advertisement. It can be the advertisement for a particular laptop. It can be an advertisement for a TV, for a newly launched TV channel, or it can be an advertisement for a travel companies. So there would be an advertisement in the entire front page of the particular newspaper. So why is this used? Because on those days, when newspaper as a media, as a medium starts, many people used this medium to sell goods and services. So this newspaper as a medium helps to sell goods and services through sponsorships and commercials. So now newspaper not only spread the news, information, and advertisements. Not only sells these and not only distributes these things, but also it advertises. So now, if this is also a function, but the problem here is that this should not dominate the function of a newspaper. Unfortunately, that is what is happening in this 21st century in many media. So sometimes the person who is giving an advertisement may dominate that particular news channel or newspaper entirely. So that is a problem here also. So if we look at this from an ethical point of view, advertising is also a function of media, mass media, but this advertising should not completely dominate the content which is delivered by mass media. So for example, if a particular company is advertising something, if a competing company for this one is doing some work, this newspaper should be allowed to publish the success of all the companies of that particular domain. So advertising should not hinder or should not stop the function of a particular media. Then the fourth one is development. So development, media helps many nations in their development. For example, take India as an example. It is a vast nation with 130 crores of people, and many of these people are even today they are below poverty line. So they are suffering in their life. They are struggling hard to come up in their life. So in nations like India and many other developing nations, media is used for development of these common people. Okay, what kind of development? Look at the example here. Information needed for poor and oppressed section of the society. So for the poor and oppressed section of the society, media discusses with these people about the opportunities that is in front of them in the society for development. So we can take example for lots of education channels that is run by government and NGOs in India. So what is this educational channel? What are these educational channels doing? They are just helping these poor people to come up in their life. So these channels are educating the poor people, and these channels are also showing the opportunity for these people to get a job, to get a decent living, so to develop their culture. So this function is also very important in mass media. So it can be a newspaper, it can be a news channel, or it can be a cinema, or it can be a radio program. So all these mass media has all these four functions. The first one, just to let us recall, the first one, it is to inform. It is to inform the audience about what is happening in and around them. It is not just to inform those things, but also to inform them about the opportunities and challenges in their life. The second one is entertainment, to pass the time in a useful way. So Then for example, to pass the time, we can you can see during train travel, many of the people used to read books during their train journey. So this is how people make their time useful with the help of mass media also. Then we have advertising, and at last development. Okay, so we discussed about a few functions of mass media, but we should always remember this. What is this? Mass communication is based on the idea of mass production and mass distribution. So if a particular person is running a newspaper, so what would be his basic aim? So we have spoken about ideal functions of mass media, but we should understand this basic function. What does this means? If a person is starting a newspaper, yes, for sure, he would be dedicated to the society. He would be dedicated to inform the common people. But before all these things, the basic or aim, his basic aim would be to develop his newspaper, to develop his news channel. So for that, he wanted mass production, mass distribution. So if you want to distribute your paper to a large number of people, you have to attract large number of people in the community. So now just recall all these things: mass production, mass distribution. These are all the ideas of an industrial society. So whenever you discuss about media, you should always think that it is also an industry. Industry means it is like many other industries. So take example, industry, a car manufacturing industry. So it would what would be its aim? Its aim would be to manufacture so many cars as possible in a particular year and to sell it to the to the mass people all over the world. So it is the same with media. Even though they have ethics, even though they have some service mindedness to the society, their basic aim is to develop their production, to develop their distribution. So most all these media is also an industry. So that is why we call, many times we call, use the term media industry. So it is an industry. It depends on production and distribution. But there are some exceptions. There are many exceptions, like the media that are run by many freedom fighters in India. So there are many media run by religious bodies. So these people run out of their ambition for out of their monetary ambitions. But majority of media are industry. Okay. Now at the end of this class, this discussion, we shall discuss why do people use this media. So till now we discussed from the point of view of media. So now for a few minutes we shall discuss from the point of view of the people. So why do people need media? Why do people use media? For example, to pass time. That is where what I already said. If you are traveling in a train, to pass time, you can read a book or you can read a newspaper. And as a companion, so a driver who is driving a car or some other automobile during night, so instead of not being asleep, he can switch on the radio and he can hear some music. So this is as a companion. Sometimes when there is nobody in the house, when you are completely bored, when you are afraid of being alone, you will just switch on television or radio, so as a companion. And third one, to fulfill psychological needs. That is what just we discussed. To if you feel lonely, if you're afraid of loneliness, you can just consider media as a psychological companion. And more than this, sometimes people who wanted to react violently, they will satisfy their need by looking at some violent movies, some action movies. So if you are unable to speak against a particular incident that is happening in the society, so you will just look at a movie in which the protagonist would speak against all the evils of the society, and by looking at that movie, you will psychologically be satisfied that there is someone in the society. to speak against the evils. Okay. And the fourth one, to fulfill social needs. To fulfill social needs means we discussed just now, to development to fulfill the social needs of education and job and many other purposes. Okay. And fifth one, to speak about to speak about among others. So to speak about something among others. And the fifth one, to be well informed. There are many people around us. They just want to be informed. They want to know what is happening around them. So for that reason, they would listen to radio. They would listen to news just to get well informed. And at last, to know about various products. And products means from normal kitchen utensils to household utensils till gold and silver and many other products. We are depending on media. It is the media which is informing us whether it is whether it is safe to buy a particular product during a particular time. So these are all the reasons for which common people like us depend on media. So there are lots of other purposes for which people also use this media, but these are all the most often uh, reason for people to use media. Thank you.